Welcome to Evolution in Controls. I'm your host, Tim Wilson. Thank you for joining us. Think about the last time that you went out for a drive. As you ventured out, it's almost a certainty that you encountered a semi-trailer. They're ubiquitous. We rely upon them to get goods and materials from point A to point B. And as the vehicles that literally carry our economy, it's essential that the trailers are durable and capable. But as the vehicles that we encounter in large numbers on our highways, we need them to be safe. And if our life depends on them to be of high quality and safe, then the manufacturing of these semi-trailers can have no lesser standard. Today on Evolution in Controls, we're focusing on trailer manufacturing, and it's about much more than just assembling large vehicle trailers. Every aspect of trailer manufacturing necessitates user safety, the best performance, and adherence to strict regulatory standards. The people that build these trailers must follow processes that are repeatable, precise, and accurate. Keeping track of what was built to what standard and then documenting the results is not a trivial task. The top 5 manufacturers in the U.S. built 140,000 of these trailers in 2022 alone. In this environment, innovation can't just be a buzzword, it's a necessity. And fortunately, there are solutions. Today, we are going to take a deeper look at 3 different functions in the manufacturing process: riveting, torque tightening, and fluid dispensing. Here to talk with us today about Morrell Industrial's automated solutions are some of the people that helped develop them. I'm joined by 3 product managers from Morrell: Dale Johnston, Ryan Zentz, and Jim Ross. Guys, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, let's start with just introducing ourselves to each other and tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the industry and with Morrell. Jim?
I've been with Morrell now for 4 years. I've been in the industry for 25 years in tightening. I am the product manager at Morrell for the tightening group, and I represent the Bosch Rexroth tightening systems.
Okay. Ryan, tell us a little about yourself, how long you've been in the industry and with Morrell.
I'm Ryan Zentz. I've been with Morrell almost 5 years now, and I've been a controls engineer for almost 20.
Okay. And what do you represent? What product?
I'm the product manager over the AE line of Bosch Rexroth controls, automation and electrification. So servos, servo drives, motion controllers,
Motors,
PLCs.
drives, and controls.
Yep.
Okay. And you've been with Morrell 5 years now?
Almost 5 years, yeah.
And a control engineer for 20.
Yeah, just shy of 20 years. Yep, I've worked for a couple end users, machine builders,
Okay.
Robotics company. So.
Thank you. Dale, you are not a first timer on the show here.
Third time.
Third time. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Dale Johnston. I've been with Morrell 8 years, just over 8 years now. I am the Dopeg Graco product manager. Dopeg mainly for dispensing, Graco for the lubrication side of it. I've been in the business a good 30 years or so.
Okay. All right. Well, as you heard in my introduction, we're going to talk about 3 different applications that we've sold to several semi-trailer manufacturers. But I believe that we've got one semi-trailer manufacturer that's used all 3 of the solutions that we're here to talk about today. So let's talk about them in turn. Jim, let's start with you. Tightening tools. Tell us about the application. Why did the trailer company come to us? What were they looking to fix or solve or to do?
They were looking for quality and traceability. They were using an antiquated system of air tools, putting on lug nuts on the wheels of a semi-tractor trailer.
What was antiquated about it?
They were air tools, and they had no traceability or trackability. They had no idea what type of torque they were actually having on the final outcome of the wheel.
And is the amount of torque important? Don't you just tighten it down?
No, it's very important. You can under-tighten something or over-tighten it. If they're under-tightened, they'll fall off. If it's over-tightened, you can break it off, break the stud off.
Okay. So what did we? And by the way, it was a manual process, right?
That's correct. Completely manual.
So one guy with a gun, or maybe 2 guys with the guns.
Yeah, one on each side. So.
And each time they did a lug nut, it was probably to a different torque.
That's correct. Depending on the air pressure that it was on the time and how long you hold the gun on there, there's no consistency. You could be able to up to 30% difference in the torque target that you're looking for. And that's a big deal when it comes to a semi-tractor trailer.
Well, tell us about the solution then.
Morrell presented the wheel multi to the customer, And what that does is it allows an operator to bring this wheel multi in. It has 5 spindles on it. They bring it in, engage it into the lug nuts. They pull the trigger, and it tightens all 5 lug nuts simultaneously to a pre-torque and then to a final torque.
Each tightening tool is independent of the other?
That's correct. They are independent, but they do is they synchronize to each other. So you go to the pre-torque and then the final torque.
And so there's a controller controlling them, measuring the torque?
That's correct. There's a multi-channel controller that's connected to them. And what it does is it monitors via the transducer feedback all of the rundown information till it gets to the final torque. And then after it gets to the final torque, it sends all that information back to the controller.
Well, we've got an animation video of this, right?
That's correct.
Let's take a look at it on the screen behind us.
Sure.
Reduce warranty claims for incorrect trailer wheel lug nut tightening with the automated tightening system by Morel Group. Here's how the tightening system works. When a trailer arrives at the tightening system, a worker uses a wheel multi-tool, which is comprised of Bosch Rexroth tightening tools, and places it on the wheel axle. Pulling the trigger on the wheel multi-tool will simultaneously tighten every lug nut to the required specs. The HMI will display when every lug nut has been appropriately tightened. The tightening information for each trailer is sent to an internal database. With the tightening system by Morel Group, each lug nut on every trailer is tightened to the proper specs, which may prevent the lug nuts from being under or over tightened. Want to learn more about how the tightening system by Morel Group could reduce warranty claims? Contact us today. Well, that was really good, Jim. So there's still a person involved in the process. It's not a robotic application, but it's not dependent upon him tightening it now.
That's correct. This is what we call a semi-automatic operation. After the lug nuts are all tightened, the data goes back to the controller, like I said, and then it's transferred to a database.
So what are they doing with the data?
What they're doing is they're linking the data that they have from the tightening tool with the VIN number of the trailer. So if there's any issues down the road, what they can do is they can come back and take a look at that data to make sure that they have the torque, the time, the angle, and the date that it was assembled at that point.
So it becomes part of the manufacturing record for that VIN number?
That's correct. They always have it. And they store that information, or in some cases, if they wanted to, they could send it with the trailer package built.
That's data that they didn't have before, correct?
They never had any of this data before. This has allowed them to take a look at what they're doing. It monitors the lug nuts and the quality of that's going on. They can see any anomaly that's going on. If they get a bad batch of lug nuts, they can see that there's a thread issue. It will monitor all the torque as it's running down.
So that's what they expected to get. That's the reason that they came to us. Were there any unexpected outcomes or any unexpected consequences of using this system?
Actually, there was a great consequence. They actually were able to increase production with a faster throughput time on it. They didn't have to worry about all of the time that's spent for manual operation.
So it happens faster.
That's correct, much faster.
Wow, that's neat. Is it only applicable to tires and lug nuts? I mean, there's 5 or 6 tools in that drum assembly. Can it be just as simple as 1 or 2 bolts and nuts?
Yes, it could be as simple as 1 or 2. You can have lug nuts that are 3, 4, 5, whatever the case calls for. You can also have the U-bolts that are holding on the springs. There's also the tongue that has bolts on it. Any bolt that you put on there that needs to be monitored for quality, especially things like the hub nuts, or the bearing has got to be seated at the proper torque so it doesn't burn out or come loose. So those are other applications down the road that you can utilize.
Jim, that's great. What a great application. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ryan, your application's up next. As we see on the board behind us, it's a riveting machine. Tell us what's riveting. What is the reason that the company came to us? What were they looking for?
So they were using a conventional hydraulic power unit that utilized, 75 feet of hose strewn across their floor, which, as you can tell, would be a trip hazard.
So that's a hydraulic cylinder?
Correct, yeah. This here is the hydraulic cylinder. And what we did was we mounted all of this onto a mobile cart, and we used our Cytronics, which is a servo-powered hydraulic power unit.
Well, let's back up for a second. It was a conventional power unit. Why was there 75 feet of hose?
So the trailer walls are roughly 50 feet long, depending on the model. So they had to have enough hose to get from one end of the trailer to the other end.
So the power unit was mounted someplace away from the work, and then you had hoses going to the
Correct.
tool.
Correct.
Is this the same tool for, in riveting, you have to first make a hole and then you mash the rivet. Is it the same tool?
No, they actually had multiple power units in the facility. So some of them were dedicated to tools that just punch the holes in the trailer walls, and then others were dedicated to the mashing tool that you see here that actually smash the rivets.
Okay, you said that we went with Cytronics. What is Cytronics?
Cytronics is our servo-powered hydraulic power unit. So this version was what we call our IMC, and that utilizes a flow command with a pressure override, and we were able to better control their process in the end.
How does going with Cytronics, how does that get rid of 75 feet of hose? What?
We were able to actually downsize the power unit considerably from what they were using. So by allowing us to do that, that gave us the ability to put everything on a mobile cart, and that actually is now riding on a rail system next to the trailer wall.
Next to the tool? Or
Yeah.
with the tool?
The tool is connected roughly, 5 or 6 feet of hose. And then the operator moves with the mobile cart down the line now.
So because of Cytronics, the power unit got smaller.
Correct.
And because it's smaller, it weighs less, and you can now make it a mobile power unit.
That's correct.
What were the consequences? What did they find? Okay, they got rid of the 75 feet of hose. Did they find any other consequences?
So normally when they would get done with the trailer wall, the conventional power unit is just sitting there running. With the Cytronics power unit, we actually decreased their energy usage by over 80%.
80%. Okay.
So the other unintended consequence of this was when they started to check whether we were in spec, the tolerances for the rivets, we were actually much more repeatable and accurate than their conventional system.
So the Cytronics actually gave a better rivet finished
the
product.
finished product was actually a higher quality and better product than what they had been getting with their conventional power unit.
And we've had more than one trailer manufacturer implement this,
That's
right?
correct. Yeah. We've had multiple trailer manufacturers use this technology.
Fantastic. Ryan, thank you.
Thank you.
Dale, last but not least,
Yes.
dispensing, lubrication. Why did the trailer manufacturers come to us?
Well, there was multiple reasons, but the main reason that they came to us was accountability, trackability.
What do you mean
this.
by accountability?
They wanted to make sure that each trailer had the right amount of fluid and the right fluid in it. So
Okay.
on our stand that we have built for multiple trailer manufacturers, they use both oil and grease, depending on the end user. So they want to make sure that we're not putting grease in an oil port or oil in a grease port. It
was a manual process
It
before,
was a
right?
manual process. There was a gentleman, an operator, literally filling up an oil can and pouring it into a port, or pumping from a manual grease gun into this port, not knowing how much they're putting in, really.
Okay. Not measured.
Nothing was measured. Correct.
So I think you have an animation video as well. Is that correct?
I do.
All right, let's take a look at that one. Reduce warranty claims for incorrect trailer wheel axle lubrication with the automated lubrication system by Morel Group. Here's how the automated lubrication system works. A trailer in production arrives at the automated lubrication system where a worker scans its barcode with a handheld scanner. When the barcode is scanned, the trailer's information is sent directly to the lubrication system, which knows what lubrication type is needed and how much should be used. A light on the automated lubrication station will turn on to indicate which lubricant to use, signaling it's ready to begin lubrication. A worker will then use the manually actuated control valve to apply the lubricant to the trailer axles by actuating the metering valve. The control valve will automatically stop when it detects that the correct amount of lubricant has been applied, which may prevent the axles from being under or over lubricated. After the lubrication is complete, the information recorded is sent to an internal database. Additionally, the automated lubrication system can be modified if the manufacturing line requires multiple types of lubricants. Want to learn more about how the automated lubrication system by Morel Group could reduce warranty claims? Contact us today. So they completely automated the manual process. The guy is not measuring the lubrication any longer.
Right. Yeah, it's not completely automated. He still has to couple up to the axle and pull the trigger for a start sequence. But that's basically it.
He's not selecting which lubrication to use. That's the little light comes on.
Exactly. So we're scanning, just like Jim's are, we're scanning a barcode. That light will come on above the nozzle that he needs to use. If by chance he grabs the wrong one, it will not initiate. He has to grab the right handle and start it. He basically can walk away and perform another operation while this is filling.
So I asked Jim this question. I'm going to ask you. They're getting data from this, though, right?
They are getting
this is
data
not
from
just
this.
they're
Yes.
measuring. What are they doing with that?
Just like Jim's, they're storing all the information. Again, the grease and the fluid volume is going to their database, and that is linked to that VIN number.
Unexpected consequences, unintended consequences, or benefits?
Well, really, one of the greatest benefits is the waste is gone. Waste and safety issues. So like I said, they were pouring it from an oil can. So when you're pouring from an oil can, you are
Pour it
going to
on
get
the floor,
oil on
drips.
the floor, and now it's a safety hazard. Along with that is residual oil in the cans that they're not using. The barrels weren't fully emptying, so their waste has gone way down.
So just like in Ryan's, they saved a lot of energy. Here they're saving a lot of material.
Correct. Yeah, with the oil and grease prices skyrocketing now, that was a big deal to them.
And we've used it at multiple locations now.
We have, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Dale, great application.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having
Tim.
us.
To learn more about Morel Industrial and their systems and solutions, visit morel-group.com. Don't forget to subscribe to Evolution in Controls on whatever platform you use for podcasts or on YouTube for a video version so you can be updated when we release new episodes. Thank you again for joining us today. I'm Tim Wilson, and remember, keep moving.